Happy Halloween, everyone! Welcome back to another episode of First Viewing. But this time, welcome to a Halloween special. In this Halloween special, I'm going to be reviewing public domain horror movies. So now, I thought about making this video, but I didn't think I would be able to make it because of of my Marvel reviews. But then Black Widow got delayed, so I decided to do this episode, and it's fitting for Halloween. And so I decided to get dressed up into a character, into a nice costume. Can you guess what I am? All right, but anyway, so why not talk about other horror films like Halloween? Maybe because I am not allowed to watch them yet. Okay, but I thought I'd talk about these types of public domain. Public domain movies are basically movies like horror movies or any other movies that the filmmakers don't have the rights to, or because they're either dead or they just lost the rights to them. And so they were released so many times on VHS tape and on DVD, and they've been like colorized sometimes, or they were or added sound to them, and then they're free on YouTube, so for everyone to now watch. And so I thought I'd talk about some of them, because I watched about 6 public domain horror movies over the past month, and so I thought we'd talk about them. But if I'm going to talk about them, I think we need to this video needs to look more black and white. So I kicked off these movies with the first one being a movie that just turned 100 years old back in February, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Okay, I know how important this movie is. This movie definitely started the horror genre. And I know that it changed film. It was unique when it came out. It was different. And we wouldn't have a lot of other movies. It influenced definitely a generation of filmmakers. But it just wasn't that great. I wasn't scared, but I mean, okay, none of these movies really that I watched didn't really scare me. I just thought it was like I just didn't know what was happening. That was the bottom line. And I kind of watched this on Amazon Prime. I watched it the silent version. I try not to watch it and with a sound dub or anything else. I just watched it on Amazon Prime, silent. And I probably watched the worst cut version of the film. It was just so blurry, and I should have went with the more, like, colorful HD look to it. And, yeah, I really regret what I kind of just did. But I have to give this movie another chance, because I know how much everybody loves this movie. Alright. If there's some positives, I do like the production design, even though I couldn't really see that much. And I love how the story was okay, because since I didn't know what was going on, I kind of have to watch Cinemassacre's, like, review of it, and I kind of, until I kind of got it, and some of it is actually pretty disturbing, and pretty, like, outside of the box, just for a movie that came out in 1920 when film was just such a new medium still. But just I think it's kind of hard to follow. That's why you need to basically, like, you have to have a Wikipedia page on you, because that's literally what my dad does all the time when we watch movies. He always looks up. He has to watch the Wikipedia so he can see what's going on. But, and I'm about to get very controversial. Caesar is not scary. I mean, 2 years later, Nosferatu comes out, and Count Dracula or Count Orlok, he looks scary. He's terrifying. Like, for a movie that came out 2 years later, it looks so much better, and it's impressive for 1922. But in Caligari, it's just not scary. It looks like it's a mine. He's just a mine. There's not really nothing scary about him. I mean, Caligari is a little scary. He does seem a little creepy, but I'm sorry. He's just a mime. Caesar's just a mime. I'm sorry. I didn't really get into this movie as much as everyone else did. I know. I'm gonna give it another try. Alright, so then I watched William Castle's House on Haunted Hill.
The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill was directed by William Castle, who was kind of famous for trying to do something trying to make the theater-going experience fun. He made this movie called The Tingler, which I haven't seen. And he put, vibrators back in the seats, because it had something to do with, a creature that came out of your back, and it was pretty scary. And in this movie, there's a scene where there's, a skeleton, and the real-life skeleton would come down in the audience. And, kids would even, bring slingshots and try to shoot it down. And cinemas just don't do that anymore, which kind of sucks, because that would be kind of fun. So, but House on Haunted Hill is a pretty fun movie. I really don't want to give away that much, because it's not really because, alright, I don't know if I have to tell you that if it's fantasy or if it's a thriller. Okay, well, it's a thriller, actually, but I like it. It's this murder, it's this entire murder mystery sort of movie about these people locked in a house with Vincent Price, who's the guy of the party. And he's just great in this movie. I really love Vincent Price. He's such this conniving, mysterious man, and he's so great at it.
Your trust is so touching. And I'm not going to the party.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million and tax-free? You want it all, don't you?
I deserve it all. Your jealousy isn't tax-free, and your possessiveness is maddening.
If ever a man had grounds for divorce.
But can't prove them.
The time will come. You'll slip up one of these days.
Think so?
If I live long enough. You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes. Arsenic on the rocks. Annabelle, you'd do it again if you thought you could get away with it, wouldn't you?
Darling, what makes you think that?
Something about you. I hear that hanging is very uncomfortable, in case you get any more ideas. Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, the only ghoul in the house is you.
And don't sit up all night thinking of ways to get rid of me. It makes wrinkles.
But just go watch House on Haunted Hill. It's a fun movie to watch with your friends on at midnight on Halloween. But yeah, go watch it. So then I watched Bela Lugosi's White Zombie. Alright, so White Zombie, I almost was gonna have the same opinion on it that I had on Caligari, but at least it had dialogue and I kind of understood the plot a bit. But it was still a little confusing at times. But I said it's still a good movie. I think Bela Lugosi, he's a great actor. He was great as Dracula. He does a great job in this movie. I love him. And, That's all I can say. And if you like zombie movies than The Walking Dead, then just don't watch it. It's because it's not gonna be the type of zombie movie you're used to. It doesn't have any blood or gore or any deaths really. There's only like one death, and it's good. I really don't have that much to say about it because I don't even remember a thing about it. All right, so then I watched Roger Corman's The Terror. The Terror. So now, if I was to make these videos where I talk about these public domain horror movies, I had to have a Roger Corman movie in there. I just had to. And I'm in Little Shop of Horrors, which is a musical based off of a movie by Roger Corman. And so this has Jack Nicholson, who's also in Little Shop of Horrors as Bill Murray's character, and Boris Karloff during his like old days, and like many of his films, it took a very short time to film, 2 days to be exact, and it's all right. It's a good movie. It's a fun horror movie with a young Jack Nicholson, who's all right. He's doing okay for an early stage of the film. He's all right, I think. Boris Karloff, it's not his like best role ever, and the story. They just filmed some scenes, and I guess they kind of helped make sense of it. I mean, this also was like one of the early days for Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, he worked on. I think he like helped direct it a bit, or I kind of forgot what he did, but he definitely did work on this film. Like how many famous people came from Roger Corman, including James Cameron. But yeah, Terror. There's really nothing that much to say. It's not really like so bad. It's funny. It's not really a bad movie, I would call it. It's just like it's like really nice. It's not. It doesn't look that cheap or like so it's like a B movie like where it looks laughable. It's really not that. It's a good movie. I really don't have that much to say about it. All right, next one, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Plan 9 from Outer Space. So, this is where it kind of started. The idea of a movie that can be so bad it's good. This was the Birdemic of the 50s. And I finally saw it. And it's a good movie. On a bad way, but it's better than like other bad movies I've seen, like Birdemic, Samurai Cop, and Cool Cat Saves the Kids. I guess it's better made in a way, even though it's really cheap. The acting, there's really not that much bad acting. And, yes, I know Tor Johnson.
Minutes later, the police, led by Inspector Daniel Clay, arrived at the scene.
Who found them?
The man and girl
Medical examiner been around yet?
just left. The morgue wagon ought to be along most any time.
You get their statement?
Yeah, much as we could. They're pretty scared.
Finding a mess like this ought to make anyone frightened. Have one of the boys take the guy and the girl back to town. You take charge.
Okay, Inspector. What are you going to do?
Look around a little.
It's pretty dark out there. Once you get beyond the range of those lights, you won't be able to see your hand in front of your face.
I will get one of the flashlights from the patrol car.
Okay, be careful, Clay.
I'm a big boy now, Johnny.
I'm gonna give him a pass just because he only acts for like 3 minutes and then he gets killed off into a zombie, so I give him a pass. And also the guy when he's like the alien guy's like, you stupid minds.
Stronger nation than now.
Stronger. You see,
You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid! Stupid! That's all I'm taking from you. Get back here, you fool!
But I did have fun watching it. But then when we get to the second half, it kind of gets boring. It's just that, like, the talk with the aliens, and it's like, oh my god. When is this conversation gonna end? And so, yeah. But I had fun still watching it and seeing how cheap it all looked, and honestly, it looked kind of like a stage play, or maybe just when they're in the spaceship. It's like with all the curtains behind them. It's like, was this like filmed on a stage, like an actual like an auditorium stage? But again, I had fun with this one. This is a fun movie to watch. I recommend check it out. It's better, and it's not long and boring as Birdemic, though. All right, let's cap this off with Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead, which is probably my favorite film out of all these 6 movies. I thought this was a great movie, great acting, great story, and just a great screenplay. I loved everything about it. There's not that much to say. I don't want to give it away, but just check out Night of the Living Dead. Because without this, you would not have any of this zombie stuff, like The Walking Dead or anything else, Shaun of the Dead. You would not have it unless you had Night of the Living Dead. So if you like any of that, you must have appreciation for the Dead series. So there you go. That is the 6 public domain horror movies that I watched this month. This was kind of fun to do, and right now everything that's happening, I know movie theaters are finally reopening. I'm gonna see Tenet. I'm gonna talk about it. But anyway, happy Halloween, everyone. And thank you for watching this video, and subscribe. Have a nice day.